Hey guys, welcome back to another power packed episode of CryptoScoop FM. And so, in today's video, I'm going to bring you a few projects, especially in the decentralized artificial intelligence space, which I think are extremely interesting. I also want to give you some updates around Bittensor and DAO. It remains one of my high conviction plays for this cycle. And finally, I also want to take you through some very interesting news stories, which I think you should know because for us, it's important to know what's happening in order to play our portfolio, be safe, preserve our capital, and basically just enjoy this market. With that, I just want to say that nothing that I tell you is financial advice, life advice, or legal advice. Crypto is inherently risky, and everything could essentially go down to zero. So, with that, guys, let's dive in. The first thing that I want to talk about with you guys is essentially, share with you some updates around the broader market. And Virtual Bacon did a very interesting, summary of what's really happening. And a few things that I want to talk about is first, market updates broadly around the spot Bitcoin ETF inflows. We saw $400 million of BTC ETF buys, on Tuesday, led by BlackRock's IBIT, and this marks 9 straight days and $4.4 billion in total recent inflows. Right, move that with ARK Invest, which sold $13 million in Coinbase shares and $8.7 million of its own BTC ETF to rebalance after both assets hit record highs. So clearly, some of the institutional investors have started to book profits as well. And a big news happened yesterday where Coinbase rebranded its wallet to the Base app, and it bundled social trading and USDC payments into an all-in-one on-chain platform. So, they're trying to build this like mega crypto super app, and they believe that's going to be the future. I did also read some, advances on the Genius Bill and the Clarity Act. It was initially kind of it was stopped from being discussed in the Congress, but then Trump has basically pushed for this, and I think it's back for in the U.S. House for discussion and voting. So those are some of the big updates happening broadly in the market. There is also, some very interesting developments happening on the Bitcoin side with, Adam Back, who's one of the big faces in Bitcoin today. Adam Back-led treasury company announces to go public, and so they're starting this new public company. It's through a SPAC merger, and this new company will be called BSTR Holdings, and it will launch with 30,000 and 21 Bitcoin on its balance sheet, which would be the fourth largest publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company. And they also have up to $1.5 billion of PIPE financing, and which is the largest ever PIPE announced in conjunction with this merger, which would allow them to acquire even more Bitcoin. So clearly, more positive news coming in for BTC and the broader crypto markets. So, price predictions. Somebody tried to compare BTC with gold again and gave us some 2028 price predictions with this crazy model. Of course, take any kind of price predictions with a pinch of salt because all of this can go to zero. But as I was looking at this image, I just had to pause and look at it, man. I just had to look at it. So, what he did was he took 4 scenarios and gave a probability score for each and kind of tried to predict the price of gold and BTC in 2028. And so the first scenario is if BTC flips gold with a 5% probability, then Bitcoin's price was calculated to be 1.2 million per Bitcoin. If BTC goes to zero, 5% probability of that, then what are we even doing here? Everything goes to zero. We pack our bags and go find real jobs. If BTC achieves 10% of gold's market cap, right, which he says is a 40% probability, then we're looking at 129,448 price point. And if BTC hits 25% of gold, we're looking at 323,000. So combining this, he has calculated a probability weighted score, value of $278,000, which is kind of cheeky, kind of cool, kind of interesting. Just to think through, we're looking at the only reason why we're so bullish on BTC is because fiat continues to burn. Fiat printers are on. The governments around the world are looking at ways to increase productivity and what's really happening is they're just taking on more and more debt, and we're not seeing the productivity gains, and that's only translating into more and more inflation. So protect yourself, protect your investments, and BTC is basically our way out. Another interesting news, Tether just minted another $1 billion of USDT, and that's like $3 billion minted. And that money has moved into, a bunch of Binance hot and cold wallets. So it will be interesting, so much capital being minted and being moved on chain could definitely indicate a lot of new, buyers, a lot of new activities. Liquidity is always good. And speaking of exchange flows, quite a lovely chart here from CryptoQuant.com. It shows you the exchange flows both from retailers as well as whales. And you can clearly see that the whale inflows for the last couple of days have been dropping, right? But retail flows are increasing. And so this is kind of interesting to see, because this is giving me an early indication that retail is coming back. And they're looking to more and more acquire Bitcoin. They like what they're seeing right now, and this is interesting. I mean, there's one way to look at it is like, what happens if whales continue to dump or exit the market? And is this going to make the market more fragile, more imbalanced? Is this going to lead to a quick wrap up on the alt cycle, or are the other retailers finally looking to take advantage of these rallies and the declining BTC dominance and basically start rotating into alt? So time will tell, but an interesting chart nonetheless to see. Altcoin season index, guys. So finally, we're outside the Bitcoin season zone, right, where we've been teetering for the longest time. And now the altcoin season index is 39, which means we're somewhere around here. We still have a long way to go before we enter the full alt season index. But this indicator for now tells me, I mean, we've seen that this before as well. And I mean, those were like fake outs, but maybe this is a general growing trend. The other indicator that I find interesting was, the ETH dominance. And I see that ETH dominance continues to increase. And let me show you, the ETH dominance is now, above both the 200-day and the 50-day moving averages, almost at 11%. And compare this to the Bitcoin dominance, guys. And you can see that Bitcoin dominance is now almost, it's actually below its 50-day moving average, and it's now below its 200-day moving average as well. So it's good to see this kind of a dip. The last time we saw this dip was somewhere around April and May when we saw a bunch of different tokens rise. And before that, we had a 10 percentage point drop, in November, when we had a massive, not a massive, but a pretty strong rally in AI and memes, right? So it is moving in the right direction. This is what I'd like to see, but I would want to definitely see this drop of further down, maybe to like 55, 56 levels, somewhere around here, which is where we'll have a positive confirmation. But this is great. This is an indicator that BTC remains strong, guys, which is cool, because BTC price is showing no signs of a dip. And despite that, look at this big red volume here. Despite that, it didn't move the price much. So price is holding up, which means more liquidity is coming in, and that liquidity is not just going into BTC; it's also going into alts. Right. So this is broadly how I'm looking at the market now, guys. Now let's talk about some interesting things that are happening on the AI side. That I want to understand is that the majority of all the value capture that's happening on artificial intelligence is today happening on the Web 2 or on the centralized side of things. So you have an Nvidia, you have a Tesla, you have an OpenAI, you have a barrage of these private AI companies, which is capturing a bulk of this value. I personally feel like we will see centralized companies continue to dominate the AI play, which is why I've started to go long on Tesla. I've started acquiring Tesla at these prices. For me look fantastic. And so now almost 10% of my portfolio is Tesla. It's simply because I feel the fight between Elon and Trump is keeping investors kind of worried. But 24th of July is when the earnings report come out. And if we see above average numbers than consensus analyst numbers, I think Tesla is ready for an explosion. But that apart, I just wanted to have exposure on the broader AI side, and I think Tesla is going to capture a lot of value. But that is not to say that there is nothing happening on the decentralized AI side. For me, the decentralized AI bet is more than just capital. It's also about trying to understand that if we don't hedge our bets, if we don't create a net new alternative to centralized AI companies, it's going to be extremely challenging for humanity as well. So with that thought process, I think there's a lot of really cool innovation that is happening on the decentralized AI front. And I think it's only a matter of time when we'll start seeing real world enterprises and real world users starting to pay attention to everything that is happening on the decentralized AI side, and adopt more and more of these products and services and use them instead of an OpenAI ChatGPT or a Cursor or a Perplexity or even a Grok 4, which is by far now the most powerful LLM in the world. So I'm going to take you through a bunch of those projects, and we'll walk together as to how to play the AI bet in the coming alt season or the ongoing alt season, right? So let's dive in again. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the broader artificial intelligence ecosystem. So you can already see that the market cap for AI coins is currently trading at about $30 billion, and compare that to Bitcoin, which is now close to maybe 2.2 trillion or a little more, so, or 3 trillion, or maybe somewhere around that. So we're not even like 10% of Bitcoin, the overall AI ecosystem in crypto. We still have a long way to go. What's even interesting is that the number one coin in the crypto AI space, which is Bittensor, is ranked 38 in the top 100 CoinGecko rankings by market cap, which shows just how little the market has caught on to all of the innovation that is happening on the artificial intelligence side of things, right? It's at $9 billion. I think Bittensor is just super cheap. Okay, so now I want to talk about Bittensor a bit, because I know a lot of people were, they were sending me messages as well that, hey, if you're talking a lot about other stuff, don't do it. Just focus on Bittensor. Bittensor is a high quality utility project, this and that. But hey, you never marry your bags, right? You should not marry your bags. You ought to be an investor. You have to have a keen eye and be curious about everything that's happening in the market, not just Tau. So I think this all season gives us interesting opportunities to make money. We can make that money in memes. We can make that money in AI agents. We can make that money in decentralized finance. We can make that money in crypto treasury company stocks, wherever it is. I think it is a good idea to augment your capital. And then it's up to you, because when the market dips, it dips like crazy. Like, look at, like, from $4.5 billion on March 10, 2024, this dipped to like 1.6. So that's a 70%, 75% drop in the price of Bittensor. And those dips give you an opportunity to buy more and more of your high conviction bets. And those are the things that I'm looking for. Those are the things I'd like to wait for when I'm looking at my long-term portfolio, right? So Bittensor, guys, I think recovered strongly in the last couple of days after falling from almost 420 odd to 326, and since then it has recovered back to 428. So clearly showing strength. What I still don't like about this rally is that the rally is not coming alongside very massive volumes, and that is a cause of concern for me, because if there isn't strong volumes, it might indicate that when there is a little bit of a sell pressure, the prices would decline again. And if this is really an all season, it might not matter much. Even you can see here there was hardly any volumes, and the price like went berserk. And compare it to these regions when the prices did rise and the corresponding volume increases, right? So, and now this rally that has happened, we can see hardly an increase in volume. So I would want to see greater volumes, which would give me a confirmation that there are more participants in the market, which would basically allow me to load up more of BTC, of Tau. I am, though, my entry in Tau was somewhere around like this price range, about 180. So I did book some profits at 427. Is it going to go up? I don't know. But I felt like we have much better risk reward opportunities. But I think Tau is extremely fundamentally still strong. Nothing changes in terms of my thesis. I think as an incentive layer for AI, they have done a remarkable job. And I'm going to continue buying the dips. Maybe when it kind of falls back to these regions around 220, 240, or maybe even 300. I think this is a good range. And some people say it will never fall. I think those people are delusional. I think the prices always correct themselves, and there is no reason why after a massive rise we won't see a correction in Tau. Yes, there might be a new normal, but I don't think that new normal is going to be 500, 600, 700, simply because Bittensor and the Tau ecosystem are yet to prove themselves from a product market fit perspective. And that's already happening, which is great news, which is what I wanted to talk about next. Like Rayon Labs, for instance, they just announced that they're going to charge $5 a sign-up fee for all of the new users. That's great, because finally we're seeing monetization happen, right? You also have this announcement where Const, who's the co-founder of Bittensor, he tweeted that Gradient's AI can train a 70 billion state-of-the-art model for $400 on a decentralized network. I think this is huge, because that's like 96% cheaper than Google Vortex, which costs like $10,000, 25% better performance than any competition, and Alpha 2 can buy back. So the more buybacks there is, the more the shoots token goes up. So if you look at let me see if I'm sorry, the Tau app just broke, but let me try and open this again for you guys and see if we can work this out. Unfortunately, it's giving me some problems, guys, but I was looking at the metrics earlier, and Shoots is looking strong again. I think it has recovered like 20-25% from its lows, which is a good indicator. I always like projects, especially in the AI space, which shows revenue and profitability, because that has been the pattern that's been observed on the Web 2 side of things. So if Web 3 companions or comparables have to gain market attention, it cannot simply be on the back of their technology. They will have to show adoption as well. Yes, technology is going to be the first thing. It has to be comparable, not only comparable, it has to be better. But revenue is going to be very, very important, right? So there was also an interesting announcement made by let me see if I can find it for you guys. I'm sorry, I can't. But yes, I saw a bunch of other projects within the Bittensor ecosystem also kind of now starting to show their interest in starting to monetize themselves, which is I think a good idea from a product perspective. I think Regis AI, Score Vision, a lot of these different subnets are doing incredibly well. So I feel like they are at the cusp of really putting themselves on the map. And I think that is what decentralized AI needs today. And speaking of putting yourself on the back, I want to talk very quickly about, I'll come to internet computer in a bit, but I want to talk about Fetch, or artificial super intelligence. Now, Fetch, Ocean Protocol, Singularity Net, they all merge together to create the Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. And this alliance is basically kind of bringing together all of their resources into building this massive artificial general intelligence, community, and later also kind of build an artificial super intelligence, product. I think Fetch is very interesting because when you look at alt cycle rotations, even in 2024 or in 2022, 21, when it has happened previously, money moves from BTC to ETH, and from ETH to ETH alts, and then from ETH alts to the broader market, right? I feel like Fetch has been around. It's been around in the block, and if you look at the last cycle, it went to almost like 5.3 billion in 2024. And even higher, in May or March, it went to $5.7 billion, and it was there in 2021. And since then, it was trading at $5 to $6 million, went to like $500 million in the 2021 cycle, and since then found its top in the 2024 cycle when it went to 5.7 billion. I think this is very well positioned for a massive rally as well, because as the money moves, think about how retail will think, right? They will just go to CoinGecko. They will look at all of the hot categories, and we know after memes, artificial intelligence is one of the hottest category. They're going to look at the top coins in the artificial intelligence space, and what are they going to see? They're going to look at Tau. So money is going to flow into Tau. They're going to look at Neo. Money is going to flow into Neo. They're going to look at ICP. They're going to look at Render. They're going to look at FET. And what they're going to look at is they're going to look at these price curves, right? They'll look at these price curves. They'll see where it was and where it is today, and they'll try to play this game. I think this is interesting for me. So just from a trend perspective, I'd love to enter into Fetch at this price. But I also want to talk about a few things around Fetch, and I covered this in my previous videos as well. But TRNR, which is Interactive Strength, they have entered into a $500 million facility to buy Fetch tokens. So like MicroStrategy, which is cumulative all of the Bitcoin, and kind of trying to create this Bitcoin treasury company, TRNR is trying to do something similar. And the more they buy, the more buying pressure there is on the Fetch token, the greater the demand is, and hence the price. So I think this is a good tailwind for Fetch as well. They also recently hired David Taylor, who was previously the Chief Marketing Officer of Cardano Foundation. I'm not a big fan of Cardano, but I think they have a very strong community. They've been able to, without any product, put themselves on the map. And I think hiring him is a good signal to the market. He can actually decouple and help the community understand what artificial super intelligence is all about. And I love one of his threads that he put out where he was outlining what he wants to do. And he said, in my role, I want to tell our story clearly. I want to make our mission impossible to ignore. I want to build trust across devs, institutions, underline guys, institutions and communities, and drive understanding and adoption of real world AI research and development and products, not hyperbolic. So I think he understands, how this game needs to be played. He understands the value of communication, which I think is extremely important in the community, amongst institutions. And I think these drivers put Fetch into a very interesting position. So if you're looking to play the AI alt cycle and want to figure out which tokens to kind of position yourself in, apart from Tau, I would highly recommend that you keep a close watch on the FET token as well. Now, next up, I want to talk about another coin which is very close now to my heart, which is Hey Anon. There are a bunch of reasons, and I've covered this and I've spoken about Hey Anon before as well. But one is just pure price, guys. It's currently trading at about 44 million. The last cycle, its high was 300 million, and this is probably it hasn't even really seen broader cycles. So I think at this price, it's extremely compelling to me. Now this is the trend case, how retail would look at it. But here's my expert commentary on Hey Anon. The first thing I really like about Hey Anon is how they have been relentless in shipping new product. Because for me, a good indicator of a strong team is how they are behaving in the market when the price is down, and are they heads down building, preparing themselves for by increasing the adoption of their product, by adding new utility to their product, and Hey Anon checks all of those points. So that's one. So to give you an example, HUD is one of the latest features that they have developed. It's still not rolled out for all the users. So you need an invite code to get access to it. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can get the invite code. I would recommend you go join the community and try it out. But basically, it gives you live access. It gives you live access to let me see if I can, yes. To this HUD manager, which adds like AI-led analysis to the chart. So you can analyze the chart, you can ask it to give you entry points, exit points, stop losses, take profits, and even autonomously execute the whole trade for you guys. I think for even large coins or even small coins, for new beginners who are looking to make money in crypto and always tend to get their hands burned, I think the product like this is extremely amazing. So that's one of the reasons. Now the other reason that I think I'm very bullish on Hey Anon is because of the founder. Now Daniel Siesta, calls Hey Anon his legacy project, and I want you to know something about this man. This is not his first rodeo, guys. He built $2 billion projects in the last cycle, especially on the DeFi side, building Time and Wonderland, which were like super massive hits back in the day. And now he's pouring in all of his experience, and he wants to leave Hey Anon as his legacy project, right? It's his. In this interview, he called it his Coinbase moment. And I think when a founder has a strong vision, when he is clear on what he wants to do, and he continues to do it irrespective of the market cycle, that gives me a lot of bullish signal. I get the same bullish vibes from Tau, and I get the same bullish vibes from, when I say Tau, I mean the founders of the Tau and the broader founder community operating the summits. I get the same vibes from Daniel CS as well. And so, like, Anon at these prices are a no-brainer for me. I think it could easily 5 to 10x this cycle. Okay. Next up, I want to talk about one opportunity which I think is going to redefine the market. They already have, which is the InfoFi space. For those of you who don't know what InfoFi is, it's also known as information finance. And so quick TLDR on this is what InfoFi essentially has done in crypto is they've monetized attention, right? So if, let's say I'm a content creator, I can pick a project that comes to Kaito for help, and Kaito charges them some amount of money to set up their reward station, right? And then there are people who are content creators who are asked to create content on Twitter for that product. It could be a blockchain, it could be a DeFi application, whatever. And as people start creating that content, the more original that content is, and the more the traction they're able to get, they are ranked on a transparent leaderboard by using artificial intelligence, and then the highest yappers basically get rewards in the form of that project's token. That's the basic premise of InfoFi. But now, they're kind of moving into this new category, which is called initial community offerings, where the launchpad is owned by the community, and this is the next chapter for Kaito, guys. So, we're already seeing how much the internet capital markets meta has gained attention. Pump is now live. They just dropped their token. They were able to raise 600 million, guys, in like 10 minutes flat. You have Believe, which has launched Launchcoin. You have Bonk launching their own internet capital market launchpad called, Let's Bonk. So you have these big players now entering the space. So you have all of these different players kind of entering the space, but I think what Kaito has that none of them have is a strong community of yappers. And now they're going to use this, the attention that yappers have generated to essentially better align the incentives between yappers and the community, which I think is super cool. And I read somewhere, this little, post where they say, crypto's capital market war just got real, and two powerhouses, two playbooks, one winner. And what they're essentially doing here is they're comparing Kaito's capital launchpad with Cookie and Legion's collaboration to build an ACM or attention capital markets. So basically, long story short, they're saying this is basically going to be the launchpad is going to be community-run campaigns, gamified rewards and DAO leaderboards, and then some form of airdrops investing, so anti-dumping tokenomics, which basically turns attention into capital at lightning speed, which is basically what Kaito is trying to do. Versus you have Legion and Cookie tying up to create a regulated reputation machine. Now, for those of you who don't know, Cookie is a competitor to Kaito. They have themselves launched their own InfoFi market, and they're offering a lot of stuff that actually Kaito charges like more than $500 a month or maybe $800 a month. I don't remember the exact number, almost for free, guys. So they have tied up, but they're looking at a whole different market because Legion allows crypto companies to do KYC sale of their tokens in a private market. Kaito is not that. Kaito is the launchpad, which basically means a lot of it is going to be just fair launch, where everybody is going to go into the product and go live with it. But I think this is a very interesting development that's happening. I'm still waiting to see how who's the founder of Kaito, lays this out, and I'm going to curiously follow. But that apart, just from from a broader market perspective, I think Kaito has just too much attention in the market right now, especially from degens. As money moves, we really haven't seen Kaito go through, its bull phase. Right, because this project was launched in the February of 25, and we haven't really seen, much of activity. And whatever little activity has happened in the last couple of weeks, we did see it touch almost $600 million. So I think at $400 million, this is a bargain, and I easily see this running to maybe like $2, $3, even $4 billion. So interesting project at this prices, guys. Kaito, keep an eye on this. Now, the last one that I want to talk about is REI. I made a full video about REI, so if you haven't seen it, you can go watch it here. But I think it's one of my AI infra babies at this point in time. And why I can't get REI out of my head is because the way they're thinking about AI infra is, guys, exactly how our brain works. And that to me is a new way to think about how AI infra can be built that allows us to build new AI applications, AI agents, AI products and services. And I wanted to show you this little chart where they've now started to roll out invitational codes for developers and users to start accessing, all of this AI infra that they've built. And within 3 days of, sending this, they're seeing 3x daily requests to core, which is the core framework, 5x increase to Bounty, which introduces deep learning, and and also to their image generation platform. So this is a significant test towards open beta, and so we're still early guys on this. I think this is interesting. There is this wonderful blog by REI where they try and explain the whole concept around the synthetic brain, the Bouty architecture, and the reasoning cluster, which basically allows the creation of metacognition, which is the ability of a machine to think and reflect like human brains do, like human beings do. And I think that's going to be the next stage of autonomous agents, autonomous entities, which are capable of functioning very close to how we do in our daily lives. And I think I remain strongly bullish. You can already see the chart, how much it's going through this accumulation phase, and it's not sudden, guys. Like this first rally where it went to 150 million was sudden, but this is slow grinding growth, and I like that in a chart. It's another thing cool about this project is there's no supply overhang, so everything is out there in the public, and I think it's going to do incredibly well. So I'm going to hold this one for the longest time. I think beyond Tau, if there is a project that has really impressed me from the architectural perspective, it's definitely REI. Alright guys, so that's over 36 minutes of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I think we're at the start of a very interesting phase in the crypto markets. If we play this well, we can make a lot of money. I would suggest that our strategy should be around preserving our capital, but at the same time exposing ourselves to this upside and knowing when to quit. So set your take profit zones, and it's okay to leave money on the table, right? It's fine if you can't make all of that upside, as long as you safeguard your capital. You will get more and more opportunities, because some of them are going to be slow cooks. And when we look at like 5 years from today, and we're looking backwards, we're going to see maybe Tau at like $100 billion. We'll probably see Fetch at, I don't know, $15-20 billion. We'll probably see REI at like $2 to $5 billion. So there's a lot of time for us to cook and accumulate these projects at good prices. And the fact that they are operating in these public markets allows us to get into good price points. So that's it, guys. That is today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do tell me your feedback down below in the comments. If you have any questions, if you have any recommendations for me in the next video, I'd love to hear from you guys. And don't forget to give me a follow and share this video with your friends, guys. I'll see you around with the next video. Until then, sayonara.